All right, so ready to jump into this one.
Absolutely. Should be a good one.
Yeah, this deep dive is into John C. Maxwell's Be a People Person.
Oh, nice. I like John Maxwell.
Yeah. You sent over some really interesting excerpts,
I did, yeah.
and I was really excited to kind of dig in with you and see, what practical nuggets we can pull out of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think you'll find this one really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about, like, being charming or popular.
Yeah.
Maxwell really gets into how, like, strong people skills are the foundation of effective leadership. And that's in any area of life.
I thought that was really interesting just right off the bat how his own dad invested in his people skills from such a young age.
Right.
Like even sending him to, those famous Dale Carnegie courses.
Yeah, yeah.
It really, I don't know, it kind of highlighted for me that it's not just something you're born with.
Exactly. You're not just born with it. You're not
Yeah.
just like a natural people person. It's like it really is a craft that you hone.
Yeah.
And Maxwell argues that it's probably like the most critical skill for anyone looking to lead, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's like a team at work or like, a volunteer group or even your family.
I thought it was interesting how he kicks off the book with this anecdote about a business owner who kind of learns this hard lesson about the power of people skills
Oh, interesting.
or the cost of neglecting them, I should say.
Right, right.
He loses this major client
Oh, wow.
over what seemed to be a pretty minor customer service issue. And it kind of makes him realize that every interaction, no matter how small, it can have like these big ripple effects.
Totally. It's like, that saying a single spark can start a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Maxwell actually cites a study by TARP that found that dissatisfied customers will tell an average of 9 to 16 people about a bad experience.
Wow.
Yeah, so think about that, right? Like how that can impact a business,
Oh, yeah.
especially now, today, with online reviews.
Oh, yeah. Especially with social media and everything. Like, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Which sped so fast.
So
Yeah.
how do we become more like those leaders that, it just seems so effortless for them,
Yeah.
to connect with people?
Right. Like, how do we like step into that?
Yeah, yeah. So Maxwell lays out like these 5 golden rules
Okay.
for treating others well.
Okay.
And he calls these the Big 5.
Okay.
And I think I'm just going to read them to you because they're so simple, but like so powerful.
Yeah.
Encourage, appreciate, forgive, listen, and understand.
Just hearing that list, like, just those words, it makes you think, oh, yeah, this is important.
For any relationship,
Yeah.
not even just like leadership,
Exactly.
So I was thinking for the sake of this deep dive, maybe instead of trying to cover all 5, we just pick one and like really go deep.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds good.
What kind of spoke to you the most?
What I think really resonated was encouragement.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think sometimes we just don't realize the impact that even just like a word of encouragement can have.
Yes.
I think some of the examples that he uses in the book are so powerful. Like there's that story of the son who felt totally incapable of taking over the family business.
Right, right.
Because his dad just never encouraged him, Like he was constantly criticizing him, never offering a word of praise or like belief in his abilities.
And it's just so easy, right?
Right.
Like I think we all have that tendency to just, focus on the negative.
Yeah.
But to actually like stop and say something encouraging, I don't know, I think sometimes it can feel almost awkward,
Yeah.
but it's so important.
It is. What's interesting is he contrasts that story with a story of Eugene Lang,
Oh, yeah.
who he promised this class of 6th graders college scholarships if they graduated high school.
Right.
And like the sheer belief that he instilled in those kids totally propelled them forward. Like their graduation rate was way beyond expectations.
Yeah.
It's like that encouragement from someone in a position of authority.
It makes such a difference.
It really does.
It's like, it's so powerful.
And what's interesting is like both of those stories, it's kind of like a promise of a future reward, right?
Right.
Like if you do this, you'll get this.
Yeah.
But it's the underlying message of I believe in you that really empowers people.
Totally. That's what makes a true leader, you
Yeah.
know. It's not just about like giving orders or setting goals. It's about like creating that environment where people feel supported and valued and encouraged to grow.
Yeah.
And Maxwell says that encouragement is like fuel
Yeah.
for the human spirit.
Like ignites that passion.
Yes, it boosts confidence.
Mm-hmm.
It inspires people to, actually strive for greatness.
Right.
But he doesn't just leave it at that. He actually provides like specific practical tips for how to actually be a more encouraging leader.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So things like, focusing on people's strengths, offering like really specific praise, celebrating even the small
Oh,
victory.
that's good.
I mean, how often do we, just kind of miss those opportunities to just,
Totally. Like a quick little,
Yeah.
so
exactly.
just a little something
Yeah.
to encourage those around us, whether it's a colleague or a friend or a family member.
Right. And conversely, how often do we like unintentionally discourage others?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With our words or our actions.
That's some food for thought.
Right. Food for thought.
Yeah.
It's funny, we talk about encouraging others,
Yeah.
but how often do we encourage ourselves?
Oh, that's a good point.
Like that inner voice, right?
Totally.
Can be our harshest critic
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. And I think Maxwell actually touches on that in the book.
Does he?
He does. Yeah.
Interesting.
He talks about the importance of like self-encouragement, especially
Right.
when you're facing setbacks or challenges.
Right.
He believes that like believing in yourself is the first step to achieving anything worthwhile.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that kind of ties in nicely with the next section,
Okay.
which is the charisma factor,
Okay.
which gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
But Maxwell breaks it down in a way that's like really insightful, I think.
Yeah.
And actionable.
I liked how he uses charisma as an acronym
Oh, that's right.
to highlight the key components.
Yeah.
So it's not just about like being charming
Right.
or having a magnetic personality,
Right, exactly.
It's about possessing certain qualities that actually draw people to you
Yeah.
and make them feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
So should we break down this charisma acronym?
Let's do it.
Okay, so C stands for.
Concern.
Okay, so charismatic leaders.
Genuinely care about others.
Like they see and feel the needs of those around them.
Yeah, just like a shepherd,
Yeah.
cares for their flock.
It made me think of that story in the Bible where Jesus sees the crowds and feels compassion for them
Right.
because they're like sheep without a shepherd.
Exactly.
So it's like having empathy
Hmm.
and a genuine desire to help.
Right.
But you're right, concern alone isn't enough.
It's not enough.
So that brings us to H.
Help.
Okay, so
Leaders are problem solvers. Right?
Yeah.
They don't just sympathize.
Right.
They actually look for ways to offer like practical assistance.
he tells this funny anecdote about a man whose life seems to just fall apart every time he gets it together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, every time I get my act together, the curtain falls down.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, sometimes people need,
More than just empathy.
more than just like a shoulder to cry on.
Right. They need like concrete help.
Yeah, like to get back on stage.
Exactly.
So concern, help,
Okay.
what's A?
Affirmation.
Charismatic leaders are good at building others up
Yeah.
with genuine compliments and recognition.
He has this quote from Charles Schwab,
Oh, yeah.
who said, "I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among men my greatest asset, and I find that the way to develop the best that is in a man is by appreciation and encouragement."
That's it.
It's so true, right?
It is.
People, they thrive on that positive reinforcement.
Totally.
So recognizing and appreciating their efforts, even small ones, can have like a huge impact on their performance and their
Yeah.
motivation.
So we've got concern, help, affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
R is for results.
Oh, okay.
So charismatic people are drawn to success.
Hmm.
They set high standards for themselves
Okay.
and inspire others to strive for excellence.
But it's not like ruthlessly ambitious, right?
No, not at all.
Or like win at all costs.
No.
It's more about having a positive can-do attitude.
Yes, exactly.
And believing that things can always be improved.
Yeah,
And, it is contagious, right?
it is. Sir.
Like people are drawn to those who just exude confidence
Yeah.
and a belief in their ability to achieve things.
And that energy is contagious.
Yes, like we're in this together.
Exactly. You want to be part of the team.
Okay, so
Okay, agree.
this is a big one.
This is huge.
Maxwell is adamant that like true charisma cannot exist without integrity.
Right.
It's about aligning your actions with your values.
Being honest and trustworthy, even when it's hard.
He tells this like kind of cautionary tale about a leader named Dr. Blair who lost all credibility
Oh, wow.
because he became isolated and he placed too much trust in the wrong people.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that even successful leaders are susceptible to making poor choices,
Right.
especially when they surround themselves with yes men
Oh,
and lose sight of ethical principles.
accountability is so important.
It is
They
sensitivity.
Okay.
Charismatic leaders are attuned to the needs and emotions of those around them.
Like they can read the room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're empathetic, intuitive, able to sense how others are feeling and
Yeah.
respond in a way that builds trust and rapport.
Okay. And
Momentum.
charismatic leaders create a sense of excitement.
Yeah, like a forward movement.
They're always looking ahead,
Hmm.
seeking out new challenges and opportunities.
And that creates like an energy and
Yeah.
optimism that's infectious. People want to be part of something that's moving and growing and making a difference.
Exactly.
So to recap, concern, help, affirmation, results, integrity, sensitivity, and momentum.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, but it's good.
But I like how it makes it feel attainable.
Yes.
Right, you know what I mean?
Totally. It's not just like this magical thing
Right. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
It's like a combination of traits and behaviors,
that you can develop.
yeah, that you can work on.
It's encouraging, right?
It is encouraging.
Makes you think like, okay,
Yeah.
what could I be better at?
What are my strengths?
Which of these areas could you strengthen
True.
to increase your own charisma factor?
That is a good question to reflect on.
Yeah.
And that actually leads us perfectly into another point from the book,
Okay.
which is like the contagious nature of confidence.
I love this.
He tells this story, it's kind of hilarious, about his 6-year-old son confidently directing a group of pastors. Yeah, these like experienced leaders, all lined up, following the instructions of this little kid.
Oh, that's funny.
And it just shows you how a confident demeanor, even from someone unexpected, can totally influence others.
It reminds me of that saying, fake it till you make it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily about faking it.
No, I think it's more about recognizing that confidence can be cultivated.
Right.
And like, as you project confidence, it can actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Interesting.
Like people respond to confidence, and that positive feedback can actually reinforce your own belief in yourself.
Makes sense.
And then, he talks about the flip side, which is confidence shakers.
Ooh.
These are the people who bring you down, make you doubt yourself, drain your energy.
They're the worst.
I know.
Yeah.
He has this example of a hot dog vendor whose business actually declined because his son, who helped him out, was so negative
Oh, no.
all the time. And it just shows how like negativity can be just as contagious
Totally.
and just as debilitating.
Yeah, it makes you realize how important it is to surround yourself with those positive, supportive people who believe in you.
Yes, those confidence builders.
Yeah.
He even suggests like actually making a list of the confidence builders in your life,
Oh, that's a good idea.
the people who consistently make you feel more, capable and self-assured.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good exercise,
Mm-hmm.
to just like recognize the positive influences in your life
Yeah.
and then like seek out more of them.
And be that for other people, too.
Exactly. It's a
that.
two-way street.
Yeah.
And he gives some practical tips for building your own confidence.
Oh, that's good.
Like, focusing on past successes, setting achievable goals,
Mm-hmm.
practicing positive self-talk.
Yeah.
One thing that really stood out to me was his emphasis on focusing on God
Yeah.
as a source of strength and confidence.
Yeah.
He believes that when your confidence is rooted in something bigger than yourself, something
Yeah.
stable and unchanging, it becomes much more resilient
Mm-hmm.
to all the ups and downs of life.
It's a good point, and it actually brings us back to integrity,
Yes.
which is really the foundation of all of this, right?
Totally.
Without integrity, all the charisma and confidence in the world doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
People can sense when someone's being genuine,
Yes.
and they're much more likely to follow someone they trust and respect.
Exactly.
And Maxwell emphasizes that integrity is about more than just avoiding, unethical behavior.
Right.
It's about aligning your actions with your values,
Mm-hmm.
being true to yourself,
Yes.
holding yourself accountable to a higher standard.
He has these great questions
Oh, yeah.
for self-reflection, like, am I accountable to someone? Am I overly concerned with image building?
That's good.
Do I compromise my values for the sake of expediency?
Those are good questions.
It's good to ask yourself those questions
Yeah, all the time.
regularly.
Yeah, because true leadership.
It's about more than just achieving results.
Right.
It's about building trust, inspiring others, and like leaving a positive impact on the world.
Yeah.
And that's where the final section of the book comes in.
Okay.
It ties everything together by outlining the essential characteristics of an effective leader.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
People skills, encouragement, charisma, confidence, integrity.
It's all connected, right?
Right. But what does this actually look like when you put it all together? Like, what are the specific things that make someone a truly effective leader?
Well, Maxwell, he actually identifies 5 qualities
Okay.
that he says are non-negotiable. Like, you can't be an effective leader without these
Ooh, I like that.
uh,
Non-negotiable.
non-negotiables. And what's interesting is these aren't just like, skills or techniques.
Right.
They're very much rooted in character and purpose.
Okay, let's hear. What's the first one?
The first one is a sense of calling.
Okay.
True leaders, they're not just in it for the power or the prestige or whatever.
They feel this really deep inner drive to lead, this sense of responsibility, like it goes way beyond personal gain.
It makes you think of people like, Martin Luther King Jr. or Nelson Mandela, people who were just so clearly driven by something bigger than themselves.
Totally.
This conviction that just compelled them to lead, even when it was hard, even when it was dangerous.
Maxwell actually uses the example of Isaiah's calling in the Bible, where Isaiah's like totally overwhelmed by the presence of God and he feels unworthy, but also empowered to fulfill his purpose.
Right.
It's that feeling, of being called to something greater.
Yeah.
Like it gives your life meaning. It gives your life direction.
So it's not just for, pastors or like religious figures or
No,
whatever.
no, not at all.
Okay.
He really believes that sense of calling can apply to anybody.
Right.
A business leader, an artist, a teacher,
It's like that inner compass, right?
It is, yeah.
Guiding them, pushing them forward. Okay. So what's the next one?
Communication. Okay, communication. That seems,
Yeah. Might seem obvious.
pretty basic.
Right.
Yeah,
But it's more than just being like articulate.
right.
It's about really connecting with people, understanding their perspective and inspiring them to act.
So listening is just as important as speaking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, creating a culture of open dialogue, making people feel safe to share their ideas.
I think Maxwell, doesn't he say something like 60% of all management problems
It does, yeah.
stem from bad
It's
communication?
faulty communication.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is crazy when you think about, all the misunderstandings, the
Maybe
conflicts.
some opportunities.
Yeah, all from poor communication.
Yeah.
It's really foundational, I think.
Okay, so we've got a sense of calling, we've got communication. What's number 3?
Creativity in problem solving.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Good leaders, they don't shy away from challenges.
Right.
They see them as opportunities, to grow, to innovate.
That glass half full kind of thing.
Exactly.
Mm.
Maxwell points out that the Chinese symbol for crisis, it contains 2 characters.
Wow.
One that represents danger and the other that represents opportunity.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
It is. It is.
Even in difficulty, there's a chance for growth.
Right. Makes you think about leaders who've had to navigate, huge crises. Winston Churchill in World War II or
Right.
Lincoln during the Civil War. Like,
Yeah, they were able to find solutions
right.
when things were so difficult.
Yeah.
And that takes creativity, thinking outside the box,
Mm-hmm.
not being afraid to experiment, to take a risk.
What's number 4?
Generosity.
Okay.
True leaders, they're givers, not takers.
Okay.
They use their influence, they use their resources to help others, not just themselves.
It's that servant leadership model, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it's not just about money, right? It's
No.
about giving your time, your attention, your energy, your encouragement.
He tells that story about Anthony DeMello,
Oh.
who sees a starving child and he's like angry with God.
Right, he asks, like, why?
Why is this happening? And God's response is, I certainly have done something. I made you.
That's good.
Like, we're all called to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the final one. What is it?
Consistency.
Consistency, okay.
This is a big one. This is huge. You can't be an effective leader if you're not consistent. People need to know what to expect from you.
Right.
They need to see that your actions match your words.
Well, you're reliable.
Yeah, that you follow through. It's about building trust.
Right, because if someone's like all over the place, unpredictable.
Yeah, how can you trust them to lead you?
Exactly.
And Maxwell, he talks about being consistent in 3 main areas: people, principles, and projects.
Okay, so with people, it's about, treating everyone fairly and respectfully.
Mm.
Builds trust, builds a sense of security.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then consistent in your principles, your values.
That gives people a sense of direction.
Right. This is what we stand for.
This is what matters.
Yeah, this is what we won't compromise on. And then lastly, consistency in seeing projects through.
Right, finishing what you start.
Builds morale, creates that feeling of accomplishment.
Means that you're committed. Okay, wow. That was a lot. We covered some really powerful stuff today. Building strong relationships. That's at the heart of effective leadership. We talked about People skills, treating others well, charisma, confidence, integrity,
The
the
non-negotiable.
non-negotiables, all of
And
it.
Maxwell has a great quote. He says, "If my people understand me, I'll get their attention. But if my people trust me, I'll get their action."
That's so good. I love that. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, think about this. What's one area you feel inspired to work on? How can you put this wisdom into action today?
Yeah, how can you strengthen those relationships and become a more effective leader?
Thanks for joining us.